Hey guys, welcome back to the e-commerce bartender. Today we're going to be going over the pros and cons of payment methods when paying out your supplier through Alibaba. So it's just going to be a simple slideshow. We're about to get into it. Before we do, I do want to mention my Excel sheet with all the prices that we got from our product. I'm going to do in the video tomorrow. So stay in tune for that tomorrow. Let's go ahead and dive right into the slideshow real quick. So the first thing up is we're going to go over credit cards. Let's go over the pros real quick. When you use a credit card, you have the capability to file a claim if any issue occurs. A credit card can be attached to your PayPal account, which is huge. That's kind of give you double layers. You can file two separate claims there. And always a positive, trade assurance is given when you do use this payment method. We kind of talked about trade assurance prior. It'll just keep your money safe, at least till the order is complete. The credit card cons are manufacturers typically do not want to use this method just because it's linked to more fraud, just because you can file a claim if something goes wrong. So the supplier tries to stay away from that. And if there's fees involved with the payment, obviously the buyer usually has to cover those fees. All right. Let's talk about PayPal next. PayPal is the ideal payment method you want to go through, especially your first time with a supplier. So PayPal is known for having their customers back in claim situations. That's obviously a powerful thing. That's why this method is what your ideal method would be. Credit cards can be attached to PayPal. Again, a double layer right there. And then trade assurance is also available through it. That's positive. And then I put a note here, pay the fee attached to the payment so you are covered in case of claim. Do not choose family and friends. When you're using a PayPal account to purchase something from, a supplier, if you do family and friends and there is a situation, PayPal won't have your back. So make sure you never hit family and friends when you're doing that payment process. You just are going to have to pay the fees. I know it stinks, but at the end of the day, you need to cover your butt in these kind of situations. All right, let's go to PayPal cons. Manufacturers typically do not prefer this method because it has a higher chance of fraud. We kind of went over that. It's the same type of deal. Fees are involved with this payment, and typically the buyer is going to have to cover those charges. You can negotiate those, but I typically don't try to reach that far. All right. This is the one I use typically once I become more comfortable with my supplier, just because it's fast, it's quick. So the pros of this, it's minimum fees, $30 per international transfer. I think you could go up to 10,000, or at least I can. And then trade assurance through Alibaba is available for this as well. A con with this one, you're not as protected as other payments. So guys, if you've not done a wire transfer before, once that wire transfer leaves your account, it's gone. It's very hard to get that money back. There's not really too many claim situations here. So you only use this one when you're like familiar with the supplier. If it's a new supplier, you definitely shouldn't do wire transfer. It's just too risky. All right. Let's just talk about Trade Assurance Alibaba. I'm going to read this part real quick. The Alibaba Trade Assurance is a payment and buyer protection service meant to add extra layer of security when paying suppliers in China. Pretty straightforward, just like we talked about. The trade assurance fees are around 3%, and the buyer typically covers said fees. Like I said before, all this stuff can be negotiated if you feel like you want to. I typically don't try to reach too far into that. And then we're just going to go over the covered methods that trade assurance covers: the wire transfers, the TT, PayPal, credit cards, and debit cards. All right. Reasons for refund. So this is always good to keep in mind because not a lot of people do know this, but let's say if the manufacturer cannot meet the shipping date times given in the contract, you can actually, file for a refund if, something goes wrong. The manufacturer goods do not meet the requirements in the contract. That's also going to go hand in hand with your Quima Audit. Quima is an auditing company that has employees over in China that checks out your manufacturer and make sure they're doing your manufacturing your product correctly. But we'll talk about that in a couple videos from now. And then I have a note here as well, splitting up the payments, guys. I like to split up the first payment just because when you're going through this process, if they know you're going to pay them once the manufacturing is done, like completely, they're likely to do a better job. So I typically do this. I'll pay like, some of the manufacturing cost and the shipping, and then leave maybe like 25% of the manufacturing payment left there till the end after my Quima audit. This keeps the supplier honest, and that makes sure they do a good job. That's going to sum up the video today, guys. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about my Excel sheet, which is a powerful tool to see if your product can be profitable or not. The link will always be below for the previous video. And just a reminder, guys, I'm still doing $1 45-minute consulting calls. You guys have nothing to lose. That will be below as well. You guys have a great day and keep up the good work and take care.